What if you could control your mind? Well, there are 4 simple techniques you can use to brainwash yourself to change any area of your life. You can use these techniques to fix a marriage or relationship, make way more money in your business, become a better father, a better man, and these techniques are so simple that it will shock you. In today's podcast episode, I'm going to be breaking down how I've used these techniques with over 5,000 men to control their mind, to control their emotions, and to take charge of their life. So I hope you enjoy this podcast episode on how to brainwash your brain into success. If you don't know who I am, my name's Tony Versick, and I help men fix their marriages, reconnect with their children, and make loads of money in their career or business without sacrificing their health or relationships. Now, I'm recording this on video, so if you're listening on a podcast platform, you will want to watch this, but it will make sense if you're not. I'm going to share my screen for you right now. And these are some slides that I have from an event I did with 5,000 guests. It was the biggest real estate conference in Australia with the likes of Ryan Reynolds and Mark Burris, and this stuff worked for them. It will work for you too. So the first step is just standing up. Like, you're fighting your brain every single day. This is so fucking important to understand. Your brain is your biggest enemy, whether you're successful or not. If you want to understand how this works, you can stand up right now while you're listening to me. Don't worry, nothing will be inserted up the rear end. You don't have to bend over. But if you try this exercise and stand up, or if you fold your arms, just fold your arms right now while you're listening, you can ask yourself the question, did you have to think about folding your arms or how to stand up? No, it happens without thinking. However, if you reverse your arms, you fold them the opposite way, something strange happens. It might feel weird, it might feel uncomfortable. That's because you're making the unconscious pattern, folding your arms, a conscious choice. You're folding them differently. You're changing the way you do something. And the point of this exercise, if you're standing, you can sit down, is to understand that everything in your life is a subconscious pattern. Absolutely everything in your life is a subconscious pattern. So if you've ever been driving before, you look at the dash for like 30 seconds and then you finally look back up at the road and you go, holy shit, I haven't crashed. That's because your subconscious mind, your brain, is driving the vehicle on autopilot. Another interesting one here for you is wiping your butt. The next time you wipe your butt, you pay attention. Do you scrunch or do you fold? Right? You don't have to think about it, it just happens. And then a little challenge for you, the next time you wipe your ass, try to wipe with the opposite hand. It's a shit time. The point of this is that all the things holding you back in life are just subconscious patterns. They are things that happen without thinking. And if I put my face back on here, this is because our brain is happening on autopilot. Everything you do is a subconscious pattern, and you actually can't control it. I'm going to break down the 4 techniques you can use, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you, you actually can't control this. So if everything you do happens without thinking subconsciously, how do you fix this? Well, the answer is to understand how your brain actually works. There are 4 core components of your brain, of your mind, and of a pattern. And they are your thoughts, feelings, actions, and reactions. Now, I'm going to break down each of these things for you, how they work, and how you can use these 4 techniques. Now, the first one is your thoughts. So if you struggle to switch off, that's your thoughts. We have almost 80,000 thoughts per day. And what's crazy about our thoughts is they're just words. They're stories and words in our head. So I shared these slides at a real estate conference. If you're a real estate agent, for example, you might say, no one's buying. It's a terrible market. The leads are no good. I don't have enough time. My partner doesn't understand. These are just words and sentences in your head. We don't think in terms of grunts like a caveman. We think in terms of sentences. So words are just sentences. And this is where your brain actually comes in, and this is how you take control of it. Your brain's number 1 priority is to make you safe. It's not there to make you happy. Your brain is not designed for you to have the life you want. If you want money and success and a great marriage and to be in control of your life, your brain's not designed to do that. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not happy. So your brain is hardwired to focus on what you don't want. So if you want a great marriage and a great business and a great body and great health and you want to be successful, but you're facing what you don't want, it means what you do want is behind you. Now, you can still get there, but you're backpedaling towards it instead of sprinting as fast as you can. Such an important principle. So because your brain is hardwired to have negative thoughts, it's actually in your biology, those negative thoughts are directly linked to your feelings. And you have positive feelings and negative feelings. Now, because your brain is hardwired to focus on what you don't want, Those negative thoughts by default create negative feelings. And these two things are linked together. You can't separate them. So for example, if you've ever felt anxiety before, I used to have severe anxiety. I couldn't leave my house. I thought I was gonna die. I was having constant panic attacks. It was fucking me up. The only reason you have anxiety is because you're thinking about the shit that could go wrong in the future. If you're on a plane and you're afraid of it crashing, the fear is a feeling in your body, but it comes from the story that the plane is gonna crash. The language in your head is the plane's gonna crash. If you're stressed about work or paying bills, that's because you're thinking about what could go wrong. The same with being sad or depressed. If you've ever had depression before, I work with a lot of guys who make a shitload of money, they've got a Mercedes, they've got the house, the car, they're depressed. I don't know why. It's because we're thinking about all the things we don't have. I need more, I don't have enough, my life's terrible. The thoughts are not separated from the emotions. You can't have one without the other. If you've ever felt angry or frustrated at someone before, right? It's because you're thinking about what they did wrong or how they've wronged you, that the feelings are completely linked to the thoughts. And this is the crazy thing. Your thoughts control your feelings and your feelings drive your actions. They control everything on autopilot, right? So your negative thoughts, works hard, I don't have enough time, I'm not good enough, create negative feelings. I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel anxious. And that's when we have negative actions like scrolling, procrastination, drinking, whatever it is that holds you back in life. Now, this is the even crazier thing. The only way to get what you want in life, the only way to get where you want to go is action. Now, your brain does this negative bullshit in just 0.3 seconds. So when you're glued to your phone and not being present with your family, you didn't sit there thinking about getting home and not being present with your family. It happened on autopilot. When you've worked a long day, you come home and your partner's upset at you, you get into an argument about something, you weren't consciously sitting there going, I can't wait to get home and fuck up my relationship. All of these things happen on autopilot subconsciously within just 0.3 seconds. And the only way to get from where you are to where you want to go is action. So your thoughts control your feelings control your actions. Now, if you want the life you want, you can only get there by action, but your actions are controlled within 0.3 seconds by your subconscious mind. So basically what I'm saying is you're fucked and you have zero control of your life. I'm just kidding. The reality is, this is the beautiful part, and I'll get into the 4 steps now, is there are 0.3 seconds in your life where your brain is out of your control. It's an unconscious pattern, you cannot change it. Your negative thoughts, your negative feelings, your negative actions happen in 0.3 seconds. But there are 0.2 seconds after that 0.3 where you get to make a conscious choice. You get to change the way your brain operates using these 4 simple techniques. And if you remember anything from this podcast, remember this. Life happens 0.2 seconds at a time. And if you use the techniques I'm about to share with you 0.2 seconds at a time, you'll change any area of your life, because the reality is thoughts are completely within your control. They're completely within your control. We just forget that they are. And this is why so many people get triggered when they hear things like depression isn't real or anxiety isn't real. Because I used to have those things. I used to think, nah, that's bullshit. That's not possible. So to recap, your thoughts are within your control. They control your feelings, which controls your actions and reactions. And you are in control of every single one of these things. You are completely in control. No one else controls these things for you. And just like folding your arms the opposite way or wiping your ass with the opposite hand, when you learn these 4 steps I'm about to share with you, everything changes, but it will be uncomfortable. However, if you commit to it, just like going to the gym and doing bicep curls, you'll get stronger and stronger. You'll take control of this and you'll change any area of your life. So now let's get into these 4 steps and how you can implement them today. So step number 1 is awareness, right? Awareness comes down to 2 simple techniques, and we've taught these techniques to our clients who make millions of dollars, even our $200-300 million CEOs. This is the first thing we teach them. If your thoughts and stories dictate your feelings and your actions and reactions, then we get to first bring awareness to our thoughts and stories. And we do that by asking 2 simple questions every single morning. Question number 1, what am I thinking about today? Question number 2, what am I feeling today? And if we break these down, what we're trying to get awareness around is what are the sentences or stories or beliefs that are coming into our head first thing in the morning? Have you ever woken up and you just can't switch off your brain? You're thinking about work, you're thinking about problems. you're thinking about how your life's challenging, you're thinking about your relationship issues. We want to take those thoughts and put them outside of ourselves on a Google document, in a journal, Notion, it doesn't matter. But just getting those thoughts out of you. So for example, I'm thinking about the bills that I have to pay. I'm thinking about my work day and my workload. I'm thinking about my taxes. I'm thinking about my partner. Simply getting it out of you allows you to look at it from a different angle and separate it from yourself, because you're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just words. The second question is, what am I feeling today? And there's two types of feelings that you want to bring awareness to: physical feelings and emotional feelings. So a physical feeling is something like I'm tired. It's your body that feels it. It's not an emotion, right? So I'm tired, I haven't slept well, I feel low on energy, I feel a bit flat today. Flat, tired, that's not an emotion, but it's a physical feeling in your body. Do you feel strong? Do you feel fit? Do you feel healthy? Again, those aren't emotions, but they are feelings. Now, the second type of feeling is an emotion, right? So angry, sad, afraid, guilty, shameful. These are things a lot of successful men feel. I feel angry at my team and my employees. I feel angry at my wife and kids. I feel afraid of failure or success. I feel anxious about the future. I feel uncertainty. These are emotions inside of our body, and they can be quite destructive. This is why a lot of men, I used to be one of them, drink alcohol and sedate with drugs and screens, because when we're alone with our own thoughts, we feel these negative things, and as a byproduct, our actions and reactions are to sedate or look at screens because we don't know how to be alone with our own feelings and thoughts. And just by bringing awareness to our thoughts and feelings every single morning, we now take those subconscious patterns of how we think and how we feel, which controls everything, and we bring awareness to it. And this is the first step to creating a lasting change, taking control of your mind and brainwashing yourself to success. What are the thoughts and the feelings that hold you back? That's step one. Step two is actually understanding what triggers these negative thoughts and negative feelings. By definition, negative thoughts and negative feelings do not come out of the ether. They don't just come from nowhere. I've had many employees, I've had my wife, I've myself said, and I've heard people say, I just don't know why I'm feeling flat today. I just don't know why I feel down today. And that's because we don't explore it, right? There is often a trigger. So for example, have you ever listened to a song before, and as soon as you hear that song, you start thinking about something or you start feeling an emotion in your body? It could be a song that happened during your wedding. It could be a song that happened during your breakup. That song is anchored and hooked inside of you like a fish hook. And as soon as that thought, that memory comes up, it pulls the fish hook and it links the story, the language, the words, the thoughts with the emotions. And this is what our body does. Our body has experiences throughout our entire life, and our body stores that information inside, and we now allow that to trigger a thought or a feeling. For example, I go downstairs, there's dishes in the sink. My thoughts are, my wife doesn't care, I'm busting my balls. My feelings are anger and frustration. Now, just like folding my arms, that's a pattern. That's a pattern that I've developed, and without bringing awareness to it, it's gonna continue to rule my life. But if I bring awareness to it, these are my negative thoughts, I feel angry and frustrated, and the trigger is I see dishes in the sink, now I can actually rewrite the story. And it's really simple. I ask myself, when I have a negative thought or feeling, what has triggered these thoughts or feelings? And then I ask myself, what story have I created here? Because ultimately, words, thoughts, they're just sentences in your head. So every time I have a negative experience, work, stressful, okay, well, what am I thinking about? What am I feeling? It's negative. What triggered these negative thoughts and feelings? Well, I'm thinking about how my employees never do their job properly. I'm feeling stressed. What story have I created here? So I bring awareness to it. My story is, I can't find good staff. I'm better off doing it myself. I can't rely on anyone. So of course I'm gonna feel fucking negative. If my story is my wife doesn't appreciate me, my story is my wife doesn't care, of course I'm gonna feel angry and frustrated. The negative stories control the negative emotions. And if I can just ask myself the question, what story have I created here? Then I have the power. Because I created the story. I might have unintentionally created the story. It might be a trigger from my past that I haven't addressed. It might be a hook or an anchor that's pulling on me without even realizing, but most of the negative feelings and thoughts in our life, we're not even aware of. If I say, what story have I created? I have the power, because if I created the story, I can rewrite the story. So what is the story you've created around these negative situations in your life that stop you from having the life you want? My story with anxiety was, I'm gonna drop dead. I can't do this. Of course I feel anxious. My story with depression was, I don't have enough. I need more. My life's terrible. Everyone's got more than me. Of course I'm gonna feel fucking stressed. So once I've established the story, the next step here is, what are the facts in this situation? And we often realize that negative stories, negative thoughts, negative emotions that create negative actions don't actually take into account the facts. It is virtually impossible to be depressed if you think about how great your life is. If you have a massive smile on your face, and instead of thinking about all the things you don't have and how you don't have enough, you just go, man, I'm so grateful to live in a first world country. And like, I've got clothing, and like, I've got a bank account. And even though it's financially challenging, like, you cannot be negative, because the facts are that your life's amazing. But we don't focus on that, because if we go back to the beginning, our brain is focused on what we don't want. We have to tear ourselves away and focus on what we do want, and that's how we attract it into our lives. I want a better business. I want a better marriage. I want more health. I want more money. I want more connection. Not I need it, I want it. What are the facts? I'm working towards it. I'm doing my best. I haven't hired people properly. Like, we take all the negative stories and we just look at the facts and look at what can we own in the situation. So this combination of awareness, what am I thinking about today? And what am I feeling today? Combined with what is triggering the negative thoughts and feelings? What are the stories? And then we look at the facts from a frame of ownership. What can I change? What can I control? What can I own in the situation? Allows us to take some of our power back, because no one's in our head holding the puppet strings to our mind. No one's in our head, in our body, holding the puppet strings to our emotions, right? So what are the facts? What can you own? Let's say the story is, I can't find good staff. I can't rely on anyone. Okay, well, how have I contributed to this? What can I do better in terms of hiring? We start to direct the focus on what we want. My wife doesn't care, there's dishes in the sink. Okay, what are the facts here? She could have had a bad day. She could have been stressed with my daughter. She could be upset in our relationship. She might not feel loved. I don't know what the facts are. Let's find out. We start focusing on solutions instead of problems. One of the biggest challenges in life as a modern day man is we're hardwired to focus on problems. What are the solutions? What are the facts? Such a powerful principle. This is where we get to the third step of how to control your mind and how to ultimately win as a human being. And that is making a conscious choice. Now, at Empowered Man, we call this rapid reframe reps. And what this really means is that you want to become rapid, so quickly reframe the negative stories and do as many repetitions as possible. Rapid reframe reps of conscious choice. So if the negative thoughts, the negative feelings are triggered by experiences in our life, they happen without thinking in 0.3 seconds. We want to quickly bring awareness to the negative thoughts, the negative stories. We want to shift towards what we want, because we can control that. And we do that by changing our language and changing the story. It's so fucking simple that most people skip it. So the first question here is, what stories are not serving me? Any negative language in your head is not serving you. So you can either choose to entertain that language and therefore feel like shit and do things that take your power away, or you can choose something different. And there's an amazing technique you can use to choose something different. This is what it is. Have you ever had a friend in your life who's just negative as fuck? That person that whenever you're around them, you just feel down or flat? We've all had that person in our lives. So imagine that person comes to your house where you live, apartment, whatever, and knocks on the door. Now, if you open that door and let that person in, and then feed that person tea and biscuits, they sit down on your couch, you give them a drink and a beverage, you give them a meal, you are now entertaining that person in your home. You're entertaining that person's negativity and energy, and it gets pushed onto you. It's the exact same with our thoughts. It's normal to have negative thoughts. It's normal to have negative feelings. It's normal to do negative shit, but you can change it and create a new normal. And the way you do that is when a negative thought knocks on your door, and it will, because it's a pattern. I can't do this. I'm not good enough. It's too hard. I don't have enough time. I'm too busy. My wife doesn't care. I can't rely on anyone. Those are your default thoughts. Write them down. And then the next time they come up, because you've brought awareness to them, they knock on your door, and instead of entertaining them, you say, I'm not home. You let them stay at the door. Thank you for being here. I'm not letting you in today. It is such a powerful tool. Oh wow, it's that negative thought again that completely destroys my life, that negative story. Thank you for coming. I'm not home today. And instead of letting it in and entertaining it and feeding it fucking tea and biscuits, you acknowledge the thought and you say, I'm not here, man. You don't serve me. Thank you for knocking by. Jehovah's Witnesses, fuck off. You acknowledge it, you don't let it in. So fucking powerful. And then the next step is once you acknowledge it's there, it's not serving me, I'm not letting you in, I'm not entertaining you, you then choose a more powerful story. You choose a new story, which is often the opposite of the negative story. So the thought comes in, you've journaled about it, you've brought awareness to it, you know that it's triggered by dishes in the sink. I feel angry, I feel unappreciated, my wife doesn't care. You go downstairs, you see the dishes, trigger. This story doesn't serve me. My story right now, awareness is, my wife doesn't care, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm not letting you in, I'm gonna choose something different. What has my wife's day been like? How can I support her? What can I do to find out what's going on for her? I choose a new story. I hire someone, it doesn't work out in my business. I can't rely on anyone, I can't find good staff, I feel stressed, I feel angry. Oh wow, awareness, I'm doing it again. How can I hire better? What can I do to find better people? Where can I look elsewhere? What can I improve with myself? I choose a new story. I'm anxious, the plane's gonna crash. Okay, I'm gonna choose another story. What if the plane lands? And I start thinking about that and redirecting my focus towards solutions and what I want, because I get to do that. And just like folding my arms the opposite way, it's hard. I don't wanna do it. It's easier to blame other people and to give my power away. But I remind myself that I'm in control of my thoughts and my stories. I'm in control of my feelings, I'm in control of my actions, I'm in control of my reactions. I get to choose. And one day it might take me an hour to realize that and remember that. Another day it might take me 5 minutes. But the more rapid I become, the faster I do it, the better I get at redirecting my focus, the more repetitions I do, the faster it becomes, the better I get, the more it makes a permanent change in my life. This is so important, is make a conscious choice to believe something different. Rapid reframe reps. What stories are not serving me? Don't entertain them. Choose a more powerful story, choose a new story, choose a different way to operate. And if you do this enough times, it leads to the fourth step, which is repatterning. You will literally build new neural pathways in your brain and you'll change the default pattern of how you do something. So the first 10 times you might do it the same way and think about the negative thought and do the negative action, drink or sedate. But you do the new action enough times, it becomes the new default pattern. If you're driving a car, you don't have to think about it. You're driving, it happens on autopilot. But you jump into a truck or an airplane, you have to relearn the way you do something. Think about any area of your life that's not working. Is your relationship not working? Do you argue with your partner? Do you struggle to have sex? Are you not intimate? You get to change that part of your life, and it begins with changing the patterns, changing the thoughts, changing the feelings, changing the actions, because the only way to get the relationship you want is action. Let's say your business or career doesn't make enough money. You can be damn sure that the thoughts you have, the stories you have, the way you feel is focused on what you don't want. You change the stories, I can make money, without grinding or sacrificing. You change the thoughts, you change the feelings, you change the patterns. And there will be a day where you wake up and you're focused on what you want. You're focused on being positive. You feel good. You think good. You're in control of each of these areas. And then when you do slip up, it only takes a few seconds or minutes to redirect yourself, because it's normal to have negative thoughts and negative feelings. It's not normal to let them control your life, because you're in control. And the way that you become in control is by taking the subconscious mind, the subconscious thoughts that happen on autopilot, the subconscious feelings that happen on autopilot, the things you do that take you further away from what you want that happen on autopilot, and you make them conscious using these 4 simple steps. Step 1, awareness. Awareness in the moment, awareness in the morning. What am I thinking about? What am I feeling physically and emotionally? The more you do this, the better you get. 2 times a day, 365 days a year, 730 opportunities to bring awareness to your thoughts and feelings. Bring awareness to the triggers for these thoughts and feelings. Bring awareness to the stories. What are the facts in the situation? What can you control? What can you take ownership of? Ask yourself what stories are not serving me and don't entertain those thoughts. Don't let them in. Acknowledge them. Thank you for being here. I'm not home. I'm choosing a more powerful story. I'm choosing a new story. I'm choosing to do something differently. I'm folding my arms a different way, even though it's uncomfortable. And that causes you to repattern, build new neural pathways, change the default pattern, and you do it enough times until it becomes a lasting change in your life. This is such a powerful tool, and it's going to skyrocket your marriage, your relationships, your health, your business. And it also means you can teach these things to the people in your life. My marriage got so much better. My business got so much better when I took control of this, because now I can teach it to others. Because you can be damn sure if your thoughts and your stories and your emotions and your actions are preventing you from getting what you want, then it's the exact same problem for everyone in your life. And the best way to scale anything and have a great life is to have great people around you. And you do that by empowering them, by learning these skills yourself. So I hope this has helped you to understand that you're in control of your thoughts. Your stories control everything. If you're anxious, stressed, angry, triggered, busy, it's all up here. And if you change this, you change your feelings, you change your actions, you change your life, and it's all within your control. So if you have got value from this, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, 5 stars on podcast platforms. And if you want help implementing this, if you want to learn how to take control of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions in just 3 weeks, then go down below and book a coaching session with our Empowered Man team. We literally help you build this. The average time to get lifelong results is 3 weeks to completely rewire your neural pathways. So if you do want help with that, go down below, book a coaching session with our team, and I'll see you for the next Empowered Man podcast.